Hello everybody and welcome to another beautiful morning here in Colorado. It is a lovely morning for a hike, so I came out here to the lovely Roxborough State Park, and the plan today is to do a quick little loop of the Willow Creek and South Rim trails. So come along with me and let's see what we see. So I recently discovered a new YouTube channel that I've been slightly obsessed with, and when I say recently, I mean last night, and kind of binged watched like 3 or 4 of the videos last night before going to bed. Anyway, it's this guy named Myron Cook, and he does geology videos. And he did one in this area about the Rocky Mountains that was pretty interesting. He was talking about how these rock formations here in Roxborough, and also some other places such as Garden of the Gods, and even the Flatirons down by Boulder, are actually older than the Rocky Mountains. And that is because there's actually been 2 sets of Rocky Mountains. Apparently, there was an uplift event however many millions of years ago, I'm sorry, I don't know, that formed, you know, these big massive peaks in this area. And all of this is what eroded off the top. And those mountains actually completely eroded all the way down, disappeared, and there was a second uplift event that created the present day Rocky Mountains and lifted these up out of the ground. So that's pretty darn cool. These are actually older than the Rockies and are actually the remnants of, you know, what they call the ancestral Rocky Mountains. So yeah, I found that pretty cool, but you know, maybe I'm just a weirdo that likes to nerd out about geology and rocks. I mean, we already knew this. I am obsessed with arches after all. But anyway, I'll link that video down in the description. Really good. His other videos are really good, really educational. I find them quite interesting, so maybe you will too. Speaking of my obsession with arches, I don't want you guys to think that I've completely forgotten about them. I know I haven't really been doing videos or pictures of them as of late, and obviously I've moved from Kentucky, which, as you know, has many arches near and dear to my heart. But no, I have not forgotten about them. In fact, I've completely taken over our dining room table and our living room coffee table with just mounds of arch data. So I've been working on organizing all the data, figuring out what's out here, where they are, that kind of thing. And, you know, Colorado has, you know, a fair number of arches in it, particularly on the western part of the state, but obviously where it's really at for arches out here is Utah. Also New Mexico has quite a few. So yeah, I am organizing the data. I am planning on getting back out there in the field to visit them very, very soon. And I'm hoping to do a series of videos on arch trips to bring you guys along. But yeah, I've also got a lot of new gear coming that I'm very excited about. We're actually going to test the one piece of equipment out in a couple weeks on a trip that I'll likely bring you guys along on. So yeah, I just don't want you guys to think that I forgot about the lovely arches. Believe me, the gears are turning on it. We'll just leave it at that. I don't know how well you guys can pick it up in this camera, but way out there, you can make out Denver. On that note about being able to see Denver back there, obviously this place is very close to Denver, so it gets very, very busy, particularly this time of year. It is September 15th, so you know, still kind of in that peak season of visitation. So you'll want to get here early. This trail was not my original plan. My original plan was to go climb Carpenter Peak, which is in this park, but I got here before the gates even opened. There was already a line. They were all flooding to that parking lot, which is like the main lot for like the basic loop everybody does in Roxborough. And, you know, I wanted a little more solitude, so I decided to try out this loop, and it was a very good call. This seems to be a much less traffic loop. It's got a very small parking lot, maybe room for 8 cars or so. And I mean, I've been out here about an hour and I've only seen one other person. Been very, very peaceful. And I mean, at one point I could see the park road down there and there's just cars flooding in. So here's actually a sign talking a little bit about the age of some of the rocks and formations you can see here. I guess really more the rocks themselves, not the formations, because based off what I said earlier, like obviously the granite for Pikes Peak there, the Pikes Peak granite is much older than the fountain conglomerate that forms the rock formations that we can see down here. But this is just talking about the age of the rock, not the age of the formations themselves. And again, you can see Denver poking up back there. Really nice view up here. I mean, even going around here, you can see a pretty long way. We rounded a bend here, and this part of the trail has a little bit different feel, kind of a little more grown in and foresty. Kind of nice. Get a little bit of variation on this little loop. Got a view of the ridge that we were just up on a little bit ago, which is pretty cool. Particularly these, you can see the layers of rock and how they were kind of pushed up there. Pretty cool. Sorry, more geology nerding out. He seems to think my visual acuity is that of a T-Rex, and I won't see him if he doesn't move. Let's see how long he keeps that strategy up. Not that long. So I've come to a quick intersection here, as you can see. Now we could continue on this way and do the main loop that kind of everyone does in Roxborough. But as I said, it's super, super busy, so I don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to jump onto Willow Creek Trail right here and do a very short little jaunt back to the car. Okay, so as you can see, made it back to the car safe and sound, which is always good. So now it's time for my sort of unsolicited review, I guess, of the trail. So, very nice short hike, pretty quick in total. It was a little over 3 miles, about 3.1 miles, and it gained about 500 feet of elevation. So not too bad at all, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I did the loop going counterclockwise, And basically all of the elevation gain is right there at the beginning. After that, it's either pretty much flat or downhill, so pretty darn easy. I will say it seems like most people do it clockwise, because as it's gotten a little bit later in the day and gotten busier, I did run into more people. Still not too bad, maybe about half a dozen to a dozen or so. But they were all coming clockwise, which, I mean, it could just be that I was that far ahead of everyone else that I just didn't see them. Take that for what it's worth. Back here now at the parking lot, it is 9 a.m. and there are only like 5 other cars here. There are still a few spots, so that bodes well for this being a pretty easy hike for avoiding crowds. With that being said, I think you still need to get here early. Driving in here this morning before the gates open, they did still have the signs out from yesterday, which was a Saturday, saying that the park was full, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again today. It is a very nice day, very busy time of year for state parks here in Colorado. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the hike. Really easy, really nice scenery, some interesting geology. So, I mean, if you find yourself out here, I definitely recommend checking it out if you get the chance. But with that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.